the Belmore Sports Ground this afternoon. They got the use of a fairly good breeze in the first half, and there's the kickoff for the Saturday afternoon competition for 1987, and Conlon runs it out now for the North Sydney Bears. Down on the North Sydney quarter line, right into dummy half, and Graham gets his first touch of the ball, and in come the Canterbury Bulldogs swarming around him to put him to the ground just outside the quarter line, down North Sydney's end of the park. And again, North Sydney take it up. That was Toole who's gone without the ball, but it's going to be a penalty to North Sydney, suggesting that Toole was held before he actually got the ball, tackled without the ball. So the first penalty goes to North Sydney.
Well, there's no doubt about that, David. Mark Graham made the half burst and he was serving the ball up there, and Toole really got full back. Now there you see Graham getting it away, no doubt about it. Andrew Farrar, the culprit.
Well, a good kick too, where Geoff Clark taking the kick for North Sydney, and he's found touch just inside Canterbury's territory, and they're running quickly across the field, and all of a sudden we've seen them quickly go on the attack with the kicking game, and O'Brien gets a fairly fortuitous bounce down there, but the referees ruled them all offside. Well, the youngster Clark is disputing that decision with Roberts. That could be interesting because he's saying that he was definitely behind the kicker, and he was down there very quickly. And had that bounce not favoured O'Brien, North Sydney could have easily scored. There was about 5 or 6 of them there.
They could have, David, but referee Roberts, Johnny on the spot, he said they were all offside.
That's all that matters.
Well, there you see O'Brien, and it was a fortunate bounce for him. But as I said before the game started, David, this kicking tactics of North Sydney, that's going to be the key to their success today.
So Canterbury with the ball, 10 metres their own side of halfway, about 15 in from touch, and now taking it up is Stephen Folkes, and he runs it back to the halfway. And that's where he'll get up and play it. Mark Bugden into dummy half. Bit of a fumble there. Now it goes to Farrar. He puts that kick in, so obviously both coaches intent on playing it down on the opposition's quarter line area. And McArthur is well and truly wrapped up there. 10 metres in from touch. Right down on the North Sydney quarter line. That's Conlon running it back on the run round. What a tragedy for North Sydney to lose Gavin Jones for half the season during the week. Of course, on the reverse side of the ledger, Canterbury are without almost their entire back line. The 3 Mortimers, Steve, Chris and Peter, Terry Lamb, who was such a success on the Kangaroo Tour, and winger Glenn Frendo also dropped out. So 5 backs out of the Canterbury lineup.
It's going to be a big problem for the coach, Juan and Ryan, and I think it's a gamble they take with Paul Langmack playing 5'8". He's a damn good player, but I think he's a lock forward. I think it could be a weakness.
So another kick there from Geoff Clark. So Stanton using both Clark and Cannon in the early stages, trying to take the pressure off Cannon a little bit. I think everyone expected Cannon to have a big game as far as the kicking game was concerned. And so far we've seen Geoff Clark do most of the kicking. That's Cannon who has the ball at the moment. And he's brought down just inside North Sydney's territory. And now taking it up, Freddie Teasdell. He's well and truly thumped into the ground. Langmack came in, playing 5'8" today. As now Clayton Friend trying to find that passage down the centre. Very rare you find a gap down the centre of the Canterbury ruck. Still just inside North Sydney's territory. Mark Graham with the ball. He's back to the halfway line. Right, Friend. Now that's Cannon. He's going to kick, and he's again kicking for this open side touchline. The ball bouncing end over end, and a good kick. Super kick from Mark Cannon, and he's gained a good 45 metres with that kick, taking play to within 12 metres of the Canterbury line. And even though they've got the feed, what a good kick. Look at this.
It certainly was. Great positioning by Cannon. And really one of the players at St George, I'm sure, didn't want to get rid of. They were loath to lose this guy. He had a good season with the Bears last year, and I'm sure he's looking forward to the same this year.
So Jason Alchin feeling the ball into the scrum, and a good little scurry from the back of the scrum, gains about 4 or 5 metres. A youngster with plenty of potential, Jason Alchin. Even though he's filling the very big shoes of Steve Mortimer this afternoon, I don't think they're going to lose too much, Canterbury.
Not really. I mean, someone's got to fill Steve Mortimer's boots someday, and this is a good opportunity for the youngster.
Peter Tunks. That's a good ball. He got it away to Scotty Bennett. Bennett playing his first grade game for Canterbury this afternoon since coming from East. Gets the ball up to the halfway line. Now that's Kelly. Kelly, the big man, still going. Good run from Peter Kelly. And look at him go. He's strong, he's tough. And I know Steve-O thinks he's one of the best props in the game. 30 metres out. Canterbury on the last tackle. Farrar. That ball's high in the air. It's coming back towards the centre of the field and taking it well as Conlon. Not a great deal of pressure applied from the Canterbury players. In fact, I think a few of them were a little bit nonplussed by Farrar's kick, but it was fairly obvious what he was going to do.
Well, they looked reluctant to follow that kick through. It was as though they didn't realise what was happening. And maybe this is the reason they may miss Steve Mortimer for that fact alone. Someone's got to start organising them.
Gee, isn't that a good tackle? And Paul Dunn came right into his Kangaroo teammate Martin Bella and said, "Come here, Eddie," and just wrapped him up on the quarter line. Peyton Friend, and that's Graham. Good ball out wide, and Florimo's gone without it, and the scrum will go down on the quarter line. And my word, that could have been an opportunity. He was positioned beautifully by that pass from Mark Graham.
This was a beautiful pass by the North skipper, and really he made a meal of this. This was a beautiful break, and Canterbury were all at sea.
Could have easily been a try, but here's Potter, and Potter making inroads into the North Sydney defence. The movement's kept going. That's Farrar. Farrar will go close. Farrar dives. As he scored, we'll wait for the referee. It's a try to Canterbury. Andrew Farrar's in.
And how costly that mistake. The centre Florimo knocking on, resulting scrum. Canterbury get the break. And this is what the Bulldogs are all about. They only need half a chance, and this is it.
Look at Potter.
Beautiful ball by Folks. He went straight through there. Potter using speed. He knew straight out to Farrar. Now look at the strength of this man. He threw the dummy. And really that was a bad mistake by North Sydney. And they're the difference between a top side and just a mediocre side.
Well, Andrew Farrar seemed to have been slightly injured too in scoring that try. And you notice all the North Sydney players are all back standing in the shade down at the northern end of the ground. See that there? That's about the only shade at that end of the ground. And I noticed all the Canterbury players went racing across to the water bucket. And so far we've seen all of the players trying to get some sort of relief from this very oppressive heat. But Andrew Farrar, first try of the season, and now gets the opportunity to add the extras.
Well, you can't really expect them to be sunbaking, David. They were really caught napping there. That was a good break from the scrum. It was a work move. Potter came in beautifully from the fullback. You've got to hand it to this, well, very fragile-looking fullback. But he's got plenty of heart, plenty of ticker. But didn't he chime through on the first? Beautiful.
He's another man, of course, who spent most of 1986 out of the game due to injury. And great to see him back. And there were many who thought he was a certainty for the Kangaroo Tour at the beginning of last year. Farrar, the attempt to add the extras. It looks fairly good off the boot, but it's going to go away to the left of the uprights, though. A few metres to the left. He struck it pretty well. Direction was just a little bit astray, and of course that wind blew it off target. So Andrew Farrar, his first try of the 1987 season, and he'll be one man who'll be very keen to get back into a New South Wales jumper in the State of Origin series.
Never mind New South Wales. He wants green and gold as this fella, and he's worth it.
So Canterbury skip away to lead by 4 points to nil after that bad error from North Sydney. And there's the restart now from North Sydney. Taking the ball well down there is Michael Hagan. And Hagan is met by the North Sydney defence only 12 metres out from his own goalposts. So Canterbury leading 4-0 as O'Brien takes it away. Bugden, Tunks. Tunks will just tuck that ball under his arm and gain another few metres, keeping the ball safe at this stage. Potter now taking it up as Gillespie, and Cement, as he's known as, another man who suffered tragedy during the 1986 season. Farrar's kick comes off a North Sydney player, stacks on the mill, it's taken by Dunn. He's onside and 6 to go, says the referee, because the ball was played at by a North Sydney player. When Farrar made the kick, it was charged down, and therefore all the players were immediately onside, and Paul Dunn, showing a good knowledge of the rules, collected the ball and gained his side another 6 tackles.
That was bad luck for North Sydney. Good work by the lock forward French. He really got involved there and charged down the kick, just didn't get the bounce.
There's Dunn taking it ahead again. He's taken to the ground there by Toole and also Bella, the 2 North Sydney props. That's Langmack, and Langmack, a good step. He's evaded a couple of would-be defenders there. A lot of pressure on Langmack, of course, playing in the 5'8" position this afternoon for the first time in a full game, and Farrar again struggling to get his kick in, but did well to actually get the ball onto his boot. And North Sydney running it back now through their winger in Greg Lennon. There's French, former Queenslander. Scotty Bennett right round his legs.
Well, here we see this beautiful tackle, and that's what Canterbury's all about. That was Folkes.
Of course, Steve Folkes had some problems last year. When you start to really look through those two sides, Steve, you realise there were a lot of players out there who missed a fair bit of last year due to injury.
He certainly did, and I'm sure that Warren Ryan is thankful that even though there's so many injuries to Lamb and all the Mortimers, that the guys from last year were really having problems with injuries have come good at this time.
So Canterbury with the ball again. They're 30 metres out. Langmack tried to step again. That time it didn't come off. Been injured too. Bugden. Well, no one really wanted that ball. Tunks has to go back a long way to clean that up. And he's held up there by Florimo, still just inside North Sydney's territory. Jason Alchin, away it goes to Potter. And Potter's tackled. 10 metres North Sydney's side of halfway, back towards the centre of the field. Gillespie now, good run from David Gillespie, cops the pass up, and it's collected again by Potter, and down towards the North Sydney quarter line on tackle number 5. Canterbury on fire at the moment. Alchin, away it goes out wide from Langmack. Beautiful pass to Farrar, lovely pass to Scotty Bennett, and he just can't handle it. The ball crosses the touchline, but lovely work from Canterbury to keep it alive on the last tackle.
Certainly was a beautiful passing out wide here. Now you see the ball moving away. Farrar got away quickly. Wasn't the best pass. And Bennett, well, you couldn't really blame him for it.
Canterbury leading by 4 points to 0 as North Sydney come up with the scrum win. And they've got the ball only 12 metres out. It's a long ball out wide. Florimo. He seems to have forgotten about the error which really let Canterbury in for, or gave them the opportunity to go in for that opening try.
Well, he's certainly got the skill as this Florimo. He's a classy player, only a youngster, but it's up to North Sydney now, and especially their captain, Graham, to settle them down. They're down 4-0.
And here's Clark again kicking for touch for North Sydney, and the young police constable has found touch about 6 metres inside Canterbury's territory, and that scrum will go down 10 metres in from the grandstand touchline.
Quite a big day, David, for the North Sydney front row. Adrian Toole, who played under 23s last season. And when you're putting your head down against Kelly and Tunks, and a fellow called Bugden in the hooking position, believe you me, it's not going to be a soft baptism today.
Alchin puts that ball into the scrum, and it's come out Canterbury's way. Langmack, and losing the ball out there, Michael Hagan, and it's going to be a penalty against North Sydney. Offside. Clark says the referee was up too quickly in front of the scrum, forcing the error.
Well, there we see Langmack onto Hagan, and you can see he was well offside. He may be quick, but he's not that quick, David. Nearly as quick as you.
You're talking about that front row of Canterbury. Of course, Paul Dunn played for Australia at prop forward, and he's playing in the second row in this Canterbury lineup. So they've got a lot of strength in the props. Good kick, Canterbury with the ball. Down on the North Sydney quarter line. Kelly, he didn't get it. O'Brien did, and O'Brien's tackled. He's only 19 metres away. Bugden a dummy half. That's Jason Alchin. A move that has finished up with Folkes, and Folkes is still going. Stephen Folkes is still going for the line. Good crash tackle, brings him down only 4 metres out. O'Brien into dummy half. They'll keep going the short side. Tunks looking for a passage down the centre. The flick pass, that's Alchin, and Alchin's going to be hammered into the ground. He's only 6 or 7 metres away from the North Sydney line. Gillespie, and away it goes. Hagan to Dunn, and Dunn has crashed into the ground. Tackle number 4. They're only a few metres away. It's Bugden again. That's Tunks. Tunks puts the little grubber kick through. Tunks doesn't get there first. It's loose in the end goal, and in the end, it's been pushed across the dead ball line, and play will restart with a line dropout. Whoa!
My word, they can thank Teasdell for this. This was a beautiful kick. You don't expect it from a prop forward, but it really is a good position. And Fred Teasdell, Johnny on the spot.
So the restart with the line dropout.
I'll tell you what, David, this North Sydney defence is like of old. They've got to get it sorted out. There's gaps appearing out there. They're not moving up in one line, and they're going to suffer the consequences if they don't tighten it up quickly.
So David Gillespie with the ball, pushes off 3. He's still going. And he's held up on the quarter line. Bugden throws the dummy and goes on his own. Now gets the pass away. Alchin, whack it goes now. Out it's with Hagan. Hagan gets it away to Kelly. The pass goes to O'Brien. O'Brien trying to get down that touchline. He had very little room to work with. He's only about 8 metres out. Now it's Kelly, and Kelly's taken to the ground. Good defence from Conlon over the top then. Didn't allow the big man to get the pass away. Hagan, that's Alchin. On it goes from Langmack. Away it goes to Potter. The pass goes out wide to Scotty Bennett. He's gone without it. Now he's got it. Running it back towards the North Sydney quarter line. Quick hands again, and the ball's again gone loose, and again it's Peter Tunks who has to clean up.
And he's back to 6. He touched an old player.
He's playing like a lock forward at the moment, Peter Tunks. As Potter's gone through some feeble defence, he's still going the fullback. Canterbury really finding the holes at the moment. Dunn, Hagan, lovely ball away to Langmack. Langmack for the line. Langmack scored. Canterbury are in again. Beautiful football from Canterbury. It's 8-0.
Oh, so easy, David. Champagne football. And the newfound 5'8" certainly burst onto the scene there. And this was good play. They kept the ball alive. They had a little bit of luck. It went back to 6 tackles again. The ball out wide, Dunn. On there to the centre, Hagan. Hagan, a beautiful ball. And watch the step here, and you saw the fullback say, oh my dearie me, my mother. Which way did I go? Poor Paul Conlon. Watch the ball. This is beautiful, Hagan. Now watch Langmack coming through. He's a forward, not a three-quarter player, and you saw the fullback, Conlon, say, which way did I go? Wrong ticket, wrong train.
There he is, Paul Langmack, who scored his first try of the year, and another one who had a mixed kangaroo to it. At times he was brilliant. He was another one that played well in a game against Hull. One of the only times he actually got a chance to play in the top side. For the most part, I think he was slightly disappointing in his own terms on the Kangaroo Tour, but he did play some very good games at times. Already we've seen North's miss 16 tackles. Well, there's the story in itself. They're down 8-0 because they've missed 16 tackles.
I tell you, David, they're not moving up as one line. It's real higgledy-piggledy stuff. It's no good having a defence like a dog's back leg. And may well they stand in the shade because there's not much sun shining on that mob down there.
They might be wearing red and black. As in comes Farrar, and there's his kick, and he's missed another one, so they've missed 2 golden opportunities to stretch this lead. It's still Canterbury-Bankstown leading North Sydney by 8 points to 0. You talk about people being sunbaked, being red and black, it's certainly about what the colour of the Guernsey is suggesting this afternoon, because they're certainly not playing good football yet.
Well, they seem to lack this cohesion in defence. They started out very brightly indeed, but you've got to hand it to the Canterbury side. They're playing champagne football. They're keeping the ball alive. I expected them to tighten it up in the forwards, but they have tried to keep it alive and get it out wide. And I think it's really calmed North Sydney.
There's the restart again, and it's been fumbled in the end goal area, and play will restart with the line dropout.
How many times do we see that? After they scored a try, they make a mistake.
Here it is, it's very high.
This is a magnificent kickoff. And, well, I think you may have had a bit of problem with expecting it to hit the upright.
So Jason Alchin made the error, and now Canterbury are going to restart with the line dropout. So North Sydney will get the ball, at least in an attacking position. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. They've had very little possession so far. At least they've got an opportunity. It's French who falls on the ball. Cannon got his pass away. Coming in now is Lennon, the former rugby union winger, and he's tackled just outside Canterbury-Bankstown's quarter line. Right at dummy half. That's Bella, and Martin Bella's certainly being well and truly looked after so far this afternoon. Right again, they go the blind side. Friend coming straight down the centre is Toole. And the big man's taken in a very heavy tackle. Over the top was Kelly. Underneath was Tunks. He's stolen the ball. I think the referee's going to get North Sydney to play the ball. I won't be surprised though if Kelly gets called out here.
Well, this was a very high one, and the touch judge has come on. Now watch this. Well, he didn't miss, did he?
Well, I won't be surprised. Let's have another look at this.
I'll leave it to you viewers to say whether he contacted or not. I think he did.
Oh, he didn't miss him. It's going to be a penalty to North Sydney right in front of the post on the quarter line, I think.
Oh, it would have to be, David.
Well, you'd think so, but now the referee, I noticed that Bugden's moving up towards the quarter line to move into the marker position, and the North Sydney players are actually moving in as if he's going to play the ball. So Adrian Toole,
well,
he suffered a deflated lung apparently in 1986 playing against Canberra, so he's even started 1987 in the wars.
carries on like that, he'll have a deflated teeth.
Lucky he had a head left after that one. Anyway, North Sydney going with it through Florimo, and he's got it just outside the quarter line on the fifth tackle at the moment. The last tackle against the Bears as Friend puts the ball high in the air. It's coming down a few metres out from the Canterbury line. Stacks on the mill, it's loose and diving on it. I think Canterbury might have come up in possession, and they have through Jason Alchin. He's down on the ground injured at the moment, half a metre out from his own goal line, and Bennett runs it away from dummy half to slightly improve the position. That bomb could have finished up anywhere. Now out along the back line it goes, and finishing up with the ball is Folks, who trips over.
Well, I think we'll hear a little bit more of that tackle, David.
So Canterbury have the ball 11 metres out from their own line. Alchin, Dunn, and the big player is going to be held up. A few metres out still from the Canterbury line. They'll have to kick shortly, and they're going to now. There's the kick from Farrar up over the halfway. And the ball bounces fairly precariously, but McArthur gets it well in the end, and he can't get away from Tunks. Yes, he does. He wrong-foots some more defence in Folks, and he's tackled just inside Canterbury's territory. Plays the ball to Conlon. Conlon, away it goes through the hands of Friend back, and he got it back on the run round. And there's the error count, and that really tells you the difference on the scoreboard.
Certainly does, and I'm sure that their coach, new coach, Frank Stanton, over at North Sydney this year, he'll be displeased with that.
Friend, Graham. Tackled around the legs by Bugden. Over the top was Kelly. Again, it's Wright. This is the new fellow Clark, and that spiral punt will be way too long. It almost goes out of the park. And play will come back about 8 metres inside North Sydney's territory towards the centre of the field, where their scrum will go down, and Canterbury will put the ball in.
Well, I'm surprised that they're using this young Clark for the field kicking. Okay, I know he's a good goal kicker, but I can't understand why Cannon, unless there's something wrong with him. I mean, Cannon has been taking control all last season, and he did 2 kicks early in the game, so why change it?
We've got through the first 20 minutes of this match with Canterbury leading by 8 points to 0 over the North Sydney Bears, and it's still very hot. Notice that wind starting to change around a little bit. It's almost blowing straight across the field now as Andrew Farrar comes into the fray. He held up midway half and quarter line inside North territory, almost in centre field, and Dunn goes ahead. A lovely pass away again to Gillespie, and Gillespie's down to the quarter line. The Canterbury swing it back the open side now. Langmack, away it goes to Hagan, back to Langmack. Langmack throws the dummy, beautiful pass, and Potter just can't get it. The pass wasn't perhaps the best one into the breadbasket, but he did very well to get the pass away.
Certainly didn't. Langmack down injured there. He tried to get the ball right round the player, and you'll see him go around here. The intention was good. Throws the dummy, and I think he may have gone onto his shoulder. Yes. Oh, he could have really given his shoulder or his elbow a real shake up there. But very interesting, David, the way that Canterbury are playing this game. They're using their forwards very strong down the blind side. They're attacking twice, maybe 3 times, pulling the defence across from North Sydney, and then a quick link. And it's causing a lot of troubles in the Bears' defence.
So he seems to be all right, Paul Langmack, but earlier in the day we saw him go down and seemed to slightly injure his shoulder too, so I wonder whether he just aggravated whatever happened to him early in the day. And they've got one against the head here too, and little Jason Alchin goes from the base of the scrum. Only 18 metres out, Canterbury with the ball. There's Langmack, Dunn going down the centre, and Dunn's held up. Only 17 metres away from the North's goalpost. Canterbury leading by 8 points to 0 as Langmack gets it away. Folks gets to within 11 metres of the line. Bugden in the dummy half. In fact, the referee must have ruled that Folks has knocked that on.
Well, it must have been a small one, but they all count. And referee Roberts, he's there. He's the man in charge. And I think North's also having a bit of trouble with his pack.
Friend to put the ball in. And there he is, on the base of the scrum. That's a loopy, sort of dangerous pass out wide, but Florimo not only got it well, but he also picked up some ground. But gee, you don't throw too many passes like that. This will be a penalty against Dunn too.
Well, maybe, Davey, but against the Canterbury defence, it comes on so quickly, you've got to take that gamble. They're only down by 8 points, and Friend did throw a loopy, but it created an opportunity for the centre. It's a gamble.
If you're a North Sydney supporter, where was your heart for a moment?
Well, you see the step, and this kid's got plenty of skills, but once again, the defence of Canterbury equal to the task.
Well, North Sydney have found touch. just inside Canterbury's territory, and taking the ball up is Bella, and a good run from Martin Bella. That's a hot reception committee for him there too, in the form of Kelly and also Bugden. Now that's Toole. He was the man that was very sick and groggy some moments back. He's managed to get the ball within 30-odd metres of Canterbury's line. Friend, the pass goes out through Cannon. It went on out there towards the fullback in Conlon, who has the ball at the moment. And he's tackled.
Well, Langmack's well and truly in the wars there. He had a shoulder charge. It was a tremendous charge down. I think he came off second best.
Here's the kick from Cannon. The ball bounces away from Potter, but just as well again for Canterbury that O'Brien was waiting for the bounce, because getting up very quickly was the lock forward French and also the winger McArthur. Now Hagan going for a bit of a gallop. And French has got one in the eye, I think, or is in the jaw. He's got up. He's all right now, it seems. Must have been just a stunning blow as Farrar runs out wide. A good run from Andrew Farrar. Certainly took some bringing down that time. Canterbury running the ball out from their own quarter line is Tunks. And Tunks gets to within 12 metres of the halfway, inside his own territory, and this has got to be a penalty. Now Freddie Teasdell just held on to Tunks long after the referee had asked him to play the ball, and the referee's got no option in those circumstances. Gee.
Certainly right, David, and of course, Mr. Tunks, he does attract quite a bit of attention. And I'm sure Freddie wanted to say a few words and probably help him along his way. But when the referee said held, better let go. There's no point in carrying on.
Farrar now kicking for this, the grandstand touchline. That breeze, Mike, when it started the game, we were quite certain it was at North Sydney's back. It's almost at Canterbury's back now. It's really swirling around at the moment.
My word.
So Canterbury with the ball, 35 metres out, with a chance to add some beautiful points. Some more points. I was just about to say what a good ball that was, and Hagan's lost the ball and Graham comes up with it. They lead by 8 points to 0. Wright, Friend, and now taken up as Toole. Look how quickly that defence gets up. Trying to force an error now from North Sydney. Florimo, Bella on the blind side, and he's taken in a heavy defence over there by Folkes and Kelly.
Well, there was a lot of talk, David, about Canterbury's fitness. I think it's proved that they're really on the ball here.
French got through the first tackle of Gillespie. There won't be too many that'll get through a Gillespie tackle this season, but after Gillespie was Folkes, you don't get through both of them. Cannon's going to kick again, and this one looks to be a better looking kick. Beautiful kick. Landed on the sixpence, and he's found touch about 4 metres out now from the Canterbury quarter line, and that just reinforces what you were talking about before.
Certainly way of good tactics, and he gets himself into such a good position here and gives himself a yard to spare. You may think that it's all fluke, but I can assure you this guy has got plenty of skills. He knows what kicking is all about.
What I was talking about, though, the fact that he's not doing the kicking and Clark is.
Well, he's a youngster, and it's a big day for him out there, and it's going to take him a while to get into the swing of things. But I get the feeling that Canterbury really have this game under control, because their forwards are charging in with a lot more vigour, and North Sydney, well, they're waiting for Canterbury. They're not moving up forward in defence.
Good evidence of it there as Dunn went crashing up the centre of the field, and the North Sydney defence just waited for him to get to them. That's Gillespie. Not unlike Folkes when he runs at times, Gillespie, that little chink. Tunks with the ball. Isn't he having a strong game?
Chink?
Bennett.
Chinese chink?
Well, yeah, a little chink. Oh, just moves around. Well, Dunn going for a kick. It's come off a North Sydney player into the hands of Tunks, and the referee said 6 to go. I don't think Paul Dunn, though, will bring a smile to Warren Ryan's face, though, for attempting a kick. And here goes Andrew Farrar up over the quarter line. The pass goes away, and Canterbury are going to score, and diving to score the try is the fullback Potter, and Canterbury are leading 12 points to 0.
You pay the price. If you do not move up in defence, then you're easily broken. And North Sydney are shattered. Farrar came onto that like an express train, and even though he's down injured, he certainly wasn't a few seconds ago when he came charging through. It was only a little step, but it was enough. And there you see the final pass. And what a great positional play this fellow is, the fullback Potter. Following up the 3 quarters, not only good in defence, it was a beautiful pass inside. But previous to that, Farrar came onto the ball 30 metres out, and North Sydney paid the price. They're not moving up, and it was just a little step from the big centre that created the try.
So there we are, Michael Potter, his first try for 1987, and that'll do his confidence the world of good. The man who missed so much of last year with those injury worries, back in the Canterbury lineup, back at fullback, and certainly he'll be pressing both Gary Belcher and Gary Jack for those representative jumpers, because even though those two seem to have the mortgage on them at the moment, this young man is an outstanding talent. Now, Farrar's not going to have the shot at goal because of that knock that he received after he threw that beautiful pass, and it's Jason Alchin who's going to take over the goal-kicking duties from right in front, and he's put the extras over the top of the black dot, and so Canterbury are starting to race away with this game. They lead North Sydney by 14 points to 0.
And they fully deserve it. If there's any youngsters watching the game out there, the difference between the two sides, not only the defence, is that Canterbury are running onto the ball with a lot more vigour. And it makes all the difference. We saw there Farrar, that little jink, not a finger laid on him.
North Sydney kick off. And this time they haven't made a meal of it. No, Brian's going to run it back towards the quarter line.
Well, there you see how Farrar came through. He held himself beautiful, calm, cool and collected, and the fullback did the rest. Great try.
Again. Here's Hagan making a great thrust again for Canterbury. He's thrown the pass away, and Langmack, I should say, Folks can't handle the pass back on the outside, just as they'd completely busted them up again.
Well, the teddy bear stuff in it is spilling out all over here, because it really is a poor performance by the Bears in defence. They haven't had a great deal of luck, really. 23 missed tackles. Do I have to say any more, David?
No, that's where the story of the game has been won and lost so far.
23.
Even though Canterbury have had all the possession.
If this carries on, Frank Stanton, the new coach, will have a hairstyle like mine.
So here's Teasdell running the ball up, and he certainly hasn't got a hairstyle like yours, and another unforced error, and Canterbury come up with the ball right in the centre of the halfway.
One thing about being bald, David, it's neat.
You can say that. Farrar has the ball just inside North Sydney's territory. That's Gillespie.
Well, these forwards are just playing with the North Sydney defence. They're making yard after yard.
Tunks with the ball. There's
there
Frank
he
Stanton.
Is. Well, he's got a bit more hair than I have, but if they don't improve, he'll be losing plenty.
So out wide again, Canterbury trying to make those inroads. They move the ball on the back line so quickly, and even when the forwards fill in, they look good. Hagan, that's Langmack, rubber kicking for the line, and he's found it.
But it's the work of the forwards, David, that impresses me so much with Canterbury. It's not as though they're just taking on the might of the defence. They use it to such skillful direction. They come to the blind, they pull the defence across, and they leave those gaps out wide. You've got to hand it to their coach, Warren Ryan. A lot of people may not like him, but boy, does he do a good job.
So this scrum going down. Must have come off a North Sydney player too, because Canterbury have got the feed, so they're on the attack again with Langmack, and here comes Potter into that line again. And almost a repeat of the first try there for a moment as he gets up and plays it. Now that's Alchin. Out wide again as Langmack through the dummy, and he's chopped down. Good defence around the legs by Florimo, who's got one on the top of the head as well. Going from dummy half is O'Brien, and he's going to get within a couple of metres of the line. Canterbury are all over North Sydney at the moment. Dunn at dummy half. Dunn, away it goes to Alchin. Alchin slipped his pass, and that's going to be an easy try to Michael Hagan. Oh so easy. And good, calm, cool and collected play from the little halfback Alchin. He wasn't tackled, and he realised that the ball was still in play, and he just popped up the ever so easy pass, and Hagan did the rest. It's 18-0.
Well, really, this was poor tackling. I hate to keep repeating myself, but there you saw the North defence just in array. All right, could be some doubt. He did have both knees onto the ground, but the referee said play on, and a simple try. Now look at the defence. One man up, one man gone. Where is it? Come on, we're waiting for you. It's all the time in the world, and go straight through them. Oh, dearie me, this is going to be horror tactics, horror viewing. for the North Sydney.
So Michael Hagan, his first try for the 1987 season, and the way they're going so far this afternoon, Canterbury, they'll all score a try. They really are on fire at the moment, but as Steve-O said, they're being helped by this incredible error rate from North Sydney. 25 missed tackles. They've dropped the ball 4 times. So really, they've only got themselves to blame, and it's going to be Jason Alchin who's going to kick for goal again from right in front. There's the kick, and the flags go up, so it's 2 more points to Canterbury-Bankstown. And we've still got just over 5 minutes to go in the first half, and Canterbury are leading North Sydney by 20 points to 0.
I bet Coach Frank Stanton wished there wasn't 5 minutes to go in the first half, because I know I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that North Sydney dressing room. Boy, oh boy. Won't the marbles be rolling after he's finished with them?
Well, they always say that you're at your most vulnerable playing against Canterbury in the last 5 minutes before half-time and the first 5 minutes of the second half. So often they have won matches in that 10-minute period. And now they're leading 20 points to 0, and there's still 5 minutes to go in the first half.
Certainly right there, David, and it must be very disappointing, because North Sydney, they've bought well. For the first time in many, many years, none of the players have left the club. They had their tails up. They did well in the trials, and it's disappointing.
So here comes Alchin again. He's offloaded the pass out to Bennett. Back on the inside comes Hagan. That was suspiciously forward. Back it goes through Langmack. Back to Hagan. Hagan still going. Bennett said, come on this way. Bennett, lovely pass away to Bugden, but he couldn't keep the movement going. What magnificent Champagne Rugby League, though. Absolute magnificence. And listen to that crowd. That is the Ted Glossop era. This is the 1980 Champagne style of Canterbury.
Is it ever? Well, they've been criticised over the past few years, but you can't criticise this. Keep the ball alive. Oh, dearie me. Wouldn't it have to be a hooker that spoiled it?
At least he was in the right position, chugging away down the centre of the paddock. The link-up should have come back his way.
That's what they do. That was great football.
So, North Sydney coming away with the ball, running it out from their own quarter line, but twice now we've seen Canterbury split them apart from down inside their own quarter area. So that score could have even been more embarrassing at the moment for North Sydney. Canterbury leading by 20 points to 0. A few moments still left in the first half. Getting the ball away to Teasdell was Graham, and Teasdell's tackled in tackle number 5, still inside North Sydney's territory, and this is going to be a penalty against Gillespie, not allowing him to get up and play the ball.
Silly play by Gillespie. They don't need that. Not with a scoreline at 20 points to 0. Now watch it. Gillespie comes in late here. He caught a little bit something for his caper. Thought he'd pay him back a little. And there you see rolling right over Teasdell.
Well, that really was bad. Potter taking the ball. Kelly takes it back to the halfway. Picking that ball up is Bugden. That's Dunn. And Dunn takes the ball inside North Sydney's territory. Bugden standing there. They're just being allowed to stand there and do whatever they like at the moment, Canterbury.
Well, they're just holding off for North Sydney.
Bugden down injured at the moment. But really, they were standing there. Bugden seemingly had half an hour waiting for a support to come through that time. But if it had been a speedy man like Potter, that could have been another try on the board for Canterbury-Bankstown.
Well, it's kept the ball alive, and this is the secret of it. Bugden tried to get through, found there was no one there. And I think he caught a stray knee.
And our statistician, Graham Roberts, rightfully pointing out, of course, that Bugden suffers badly from asthma. This might be what his problem is. It's that sort of day.
He didn't suffer from asthma then, more like a knee.
So 20 points to 0 in favour of Canterbury-Bankstown. I don't know what North Sydney can do in the second half, but by gee, it'll have to be an incredible turnaround for them to get back into this game. As Scott Bennett sent away, beautiful pass that time from Farrar. He's very quick too, Scott Bennett. His first game in Canterbury colours in a premiership match anyway. As Canterbury run the ball within about 30 metres of the line. Alchin kicking, getting underneath it is Lennon. And beautifully chopping him down was Tunks, but Lennon's up and running again outside the quarter line. He's not going to get too much further. Bugden underneath and Dunn over the top.
That was tremendous play by the prop, Tunks. He followed that kick through and brought down, half-tackled him there, but at least he was there.
He's had a mighty first half, Peter, Tunks, amongst quite a few teammates too, I might add.
My word, it's a machine like Canterbury again.
So North Sydney with that ball, they really are desperate for 4 or 6 points during the last dying moments of this first half. A converted try would certainly lift their spirits, but have a look at that. That is the story of the first half. Look at all those errors, 30 to 15, 2 to 1, but it's the missed tackles. They're the important statistic in any game of football, and really North Sydney have only themselves to blame. They're making a bit of ground through McArthur. That's tackle number 5 against them. He plays the ball forward, McArthur goes on his own, and he's going to give the ball back to Canterbury immediately.
Well, that just emphasises the problems at North Sydney. They've given the handover. There's really no one out there talking to the side. They'd probably be a little bit disillusioned. It's very warm out there, and having 20 points scored against them in this heat, well, there's no worse thing about it. But Mark Graham, he really has got to start shaking them.
Beautiful ball from Dunn back to Potter, and Potter's tackle just inside North Sydney's territory. It's towed through on that play the ball. Tunks cleans it up again. And there it is, away it goes. The pass from Langmack finds Farrar. Farrar's pass has gone loose behind Bennett, and the referee said it's a knock-on. Now, rather fortunate there, Canterbury, that Lennon wasn't a little bit closer to the action, because if he'd picked up that loose ball, he would have been down under the post. He's the quickest man on the field.
My word, but watch Tunks get this ball away, and then, folks, a long ball out wide. Now, you can see the North's defence. Now, this was a try on the making. As you say, Lennon couldn't get to it.
Well, look where Lennon is. Now, the winger Bennett was the one that made the error, and Lennon was a good 15 metres away over on the touchline. No wonder they're making gaps. The old story, move up in one line.
My word, there's no talking out there, David.
It's the,
really shot to pieces.
The fundamental of defence is to move up in a straight line. North Sydney with the ball. You heard a train in the background. Some people anticipated that that might have been the half-time hooter. A goods train going down towards the station here at Belmore, and there's the half-time hooter in the background. I think there's been a bit of a problem on the far side of the field too. I notice the ambulance racing over to a spectator who may well have suffered badly from the heat. But at half-time, the Canterbury Bulldogs go in, leading by 20 points to 0.
I'm sure that Stanton will have said a few words. Warren Ryan, he'll just say play as it comes. Let's not get too excited, let's not get too cocky, even though they've got 20 points on the board. He'll keep a good, strict control of their play, and I think we may see a lot more kicking from Canterbury in the second half.
Well, now Canterbury coming back onto the field. It might be one of those days, Steve-o, when no one complains about getting a cold shower. Certainly some of them would have jumped in the showers at half-time, one would think, to try and cool down, and here comes North Sydney.
Well, David, I think there's a lot of North Sydney fans are already calling their team a cold shower, a bunch of them. They really have to improve, and I think you can see it's etched on their faces. They realise they've got a Herculean effort in the second half.
Well, they need something, and they need to do it fairly quickly, I think. Try and get some enthusiasm.
And there's the man that really has to lift his side. He's been somewhat disappointing. They haven't had a great deal of possession, but they can only blame themselves for that. They've spilt 4 balls, and possession is vital against a team like Canterbury. But he really has to start organising and get things sorted out there if they're going to have any chance of denting this very strong Canterbury defence.
So now we're about to see the restart, the second half about to start. No changes out there. And here comes North Sydney to restart the match, the start of the second half. Canterbury leading by 20 points to 0 at half-time, and that's Michael Hagan. Now that could have easily been a penalty. It wasn't. Bugden has it, and he runs it back towards that quarter line. It won't be long before we see a kick, and there's Gillespie back towards the quarter line. In fact, there might be a replacement out there, I think, for Conlon. Is there at fullback, or has McArthur gone back to fullback and someone out on the other wing? I think North Sydney might have a replacement out there. Conlon might have left the field, and Steve Keir might be on the field for North Sydney on the right wing. I think John McArthur's gone back to fullback. As now we're going to see a chance for North Sydney, as going without the ball is Canterbury, and Clark comes up with it for the Bears. He's only about 17 metres out, so is this the opportunity for them to get back into the match? Bella, away it goes to Toole, and Toole has crashed to the ground. Good defence from the Canterbury Bulldogs. They haven't had to do too much this afternoon though so far. As into dummy half is Wright. That's Graham. The pass comes across to Friend. Over the quarter line goes the little man. He's still going. Beautiful pass. Going for the line now is Florimo. Can he get his pass back? Yes, Lennon will score. Try to North Sydney. And that's by just keeping the ball alive. And the former rugby union winger has scored a good try. Might have been injured in scoring the try, but they're back in the game, at least for the time being. It's 20 points to 4.
Just what the doctor ordered. Good play by North Sydney. And it's one time that they swept up on a loose ball, and the ball came out wide, and they caught Canterbury napping here. This is good play. Graham right along the feet. Now Clayton Friend, he uses his strength here, bursts through the would-be tackles of Kelly and Folks, and onto Florimo. Now, good play by the centre as he's dying with the ball, and the former rugby union winger in for the try. Just what they really needed. Now watch how they get the ball out wide. Now Clayton Friend, very short and stumpy, and they went too high, no doubt about it. Nearly had his head taken off him, but he'll wear that one. A good play by Florimo, gets the ball away, and as all good wingers should do, backs up on the inside.
So there we are. Greg Lennon, the first of what I think will be many tries for North Sydney during this year. And won't they have some speed on the wings when Les Kiss comes back into this side? This man, very quick indeed, Greg Lennon. Just what the doctor ordered for North Sydney. And what we were talking about, the lower grades going high in the last 20 minutes or so of the match, which saw a lot of bad defence. We saw straight away after half-time. That might shake Canterbury into gear. Geoff Clark, boy from Asquith. In fact, scored 150 points last year, moving in. There's the kick, but it's going to be well wide. Came beautifully off the boot, but I think he was allowing for the breeze, and he allowed far too much. But he's probably got rid of the nerves from having his first kick in first-grade football out of the way. Anyway, Canterbury leading North by 20 points to 4. He certainly kicked plenty before.
Well, this is where North Sydney have to try to consolidate. They've got the start that they wanted, 4 points. They've still got a long way to pull back. But I think they'll realise there that the order of the day is to get the ball out wide.
So now North Sydney all in front of them to try and do, and bringing it back as McArthur, and he's upended. Only a few metres out. Now that's Cannon, and Cannon again got through some bad defence. Unusual. Canterbury have missed a couple of tackles in the opening minutes of the second half. Taking it up now is Graham, and Graham gains another 8 or 9 metres. He's tackled about 13 metres or so out from his own quarter line, right into dummy half. Now that's Friend, and he's going to kick the ball this time. And it's kicked away from Potter, and the ball bouncing over towards the grandstand touchline. Bennett, well, he did well on his fingertips to gain control of that, and he's managed to evade one. But now Martin Bella comes up and tackles the youngster into the ground just outside the Canterbury quarter line. Potter, O'Brien, and O'Brien's going to be held there by Teasdell, and also up there was Rex Wright. Towed through on the play the ball. This will be 6 to go, and the referee says yes. Now it's loose, I think, and Wright might have come up with the ball for Norths. I think he has. The referee says yes.
That's good play by the hooker.
And now running it out wide is Florimo. So North Sydney, a tale of two halves so far. North's had the ball 22 metres out. And that's Toole. And he's tackled only 20 metres away from the Canterbury line.
There's a Canterbury player down and rolling around in agony.
North Sydney with another opportunity. It's Friend who has the ball on it, goes to French. Goes past that Canterbury player down injured, being attended to by the Canterbury trainer Larry Britton, and the referee now giving a penalty. It's against Canterbury, it's against Kelly, so a chance to have a shot at goal, or will they try and put a 4-pointer on the board? And Graham is coming across talking to Cannon to have the shot at goal.
Well, they got plenty of time left, David. I'd go for the 2 points.
Can't work out who that is down injured. Larry Britton there, the Canterbury trainer, also the Kangaroo trainer. Did a marvellous job on the Kangaroo tour. I can't see Peter Tunks anywhere out there. It just looks a bit like Tunks from here. I'm just wondering whether it is Peter Tunks.
No, I see Tunksy there, and
can't see
Potter's there.
It's Bugden, in fact, the hooker.
Well, he was writhing around in agony there. Certainly got a bad knock.
Now it's Clark who's going to have the shot at goal from right in front of the post. This should be his first points in first grade. There's the kick. It's high in the air, but he's missed it.
Now you'll see what happens here to Bugden. He runs into... Now, Wright does the right thing, and you see the knee just connecting. And believe you me, that's not a nice thing.
Of course, that might have looked a lot worse from that side, because if you look at it from the other side, Wright was, trying to at least rake the ball away. It might well have been a very accidental knee. That it looked a lot worse looking at it from this angle than what it would have done.
He was trying to rake the ball away.
So North Sydney with the ball after that bad missed goal. So both sides have actually missed some opportunities to kick goals this afternoon. North still in front, I should say Canterbury still in front, 20 points to 4. North Sydney with the ball, making some inroads inside the Canterbury half. That's Teasdell, Friend. Now Cannon tries that little chip over the top. Coming through quickly was Clark, but getting there first was the lock forward folks, and Canterbury come up with it. Crowd really thinking that there should have been a penalty for perhaps some knees. Anyway, Potter plays it for Canterbury. Dunn away to Kelly. And Kelly runs into a fairly hot committee too. He's tackled 12 metres his own side of halfway. That should be a penalty, and is. Well, Martin Bella spent all day lying all over the top of the tackle player, and the referee has been pretty tough on that. No option there.
Yeah, it's a silly penalty because North Sydney, well, they came out with fire in the second half, and it was to be expected. There's no doubt their coach Frank Stanton would have given them a real fiery talk at the half-time break.
So Canterbury have found touch. Will take the second kick. 9 metres inside North Sydney's territory. Alchin. That's Langmack. Beautiful pass away that it can't be picked up there by Hagan. It was knocked to the ground, and the referee, in fact, is ruling that it was knocked on. And now...
Well, this ball here, now you'll see the ball go out to Langmack, and he's well spotted by Friend, and he gets a bit of a high swing round. I think he may have copped something in the groin area there. No, it's on the head.
Well, the pass was certainly perfect, but alas for Canterbury, Hagan couldn't hold on to it, and so North Sydney come up with the ball after they've won the scrum, and they're running it back towards the halfway line. Now that's Friend, and they're trying to do something with the ball at the moment, North Sydney. Cannon just couldn't get that pass away to Florimo, who was almost unmarked out here on the grandstand side of the field. Teasdell runs it back towards the halfway line. Graham now taking it up as Bella. He certainly hasn't been as effective today as he was on some of the games in the Kangaroo Tour. Now that's Graham again. Trying to get those big arms free. Can't do so. Folks and Dunn doing the tackling. Blindside they come again. Bella with the ball. He's not really running onto the ball. He was flat-footed when he received that. Easy meat for the 3 Canterbury tacklers who are up there quickly. The 2 props and the second rower. Now it's Wright. Away it goes to Cannon. Cannon's going to kick. It's high in the air. It's coming down 8 metres out from the Canterbury line. Potter takes it beautifully. And now links up with Bennett. And Bennett's back to the quarter line. Good football from Potter. Good positioning from Bennett. Canterbury have the ball.
But it was a bad kick there, David, by Mark Cannon. It was far too deep. Potted all the time in the world.
Still, this wind swirling around wouldn't make them easy to take when they get up a bit, as Gillespie runs the ball out now from his own quarter line. Friend and Bella there doing the tackling. An electric train goes sailing past into Belmore station, and that could have almost been offside, surely. Anyway, Canterbury still have the ball after the loose bit of passing. Bugden now taking ahead as Kelly. Kelly won't get the pass away from that, so that's the tackle number 5. So they must kick here, Canterbury, and they will. It's Alchin who's going to put the kick in. The kick's charged down. Getting back there is Potter. It's 6 to go, says the referee, and the tackle count will start again.
There's certainly a lot more eagerness in this North Sydney defence.
Folks chopped down. Copybook tackle by Florimo. Bugden, short side, away it goes to Dunn. Dunn pushes off one, but won't get through the next one in Graham. He's held up 10 metres out from his own quarter line. Clark also involved in the tackle. Bugden goes the blind side again. It goes to Tunks. And Tunks almost lost the ball as he was knocked down that time by Friend and Teasdell. O'Brien, it's Kelly. And Kelly's not going to get the pass away. He's tackled again in tackle number 5. Mistake-free football at the moment from Canterbury, just content to run it out in ones as Farrar gets it, tries the grubber kick for touch, won't find it. And now this is Keir, who's on the field as a replacement. And he's tackled midway, half and quarter line, inside North Sydney's territory. McArthur, that's Cannon. Away it goes now towards Lennon, and Lennon's tackled. 10 metres inside North's territory. Taking it up the blind side is Bella. And Bella almost gets it back to the halfway. Certainly playing much stronger in the second half than he did in the first half. Lennon goes from dummy half, gains another couple of metres, runs into Folks, Bugden and also Dunn.
Well, North Sydney trying to use the same tactics as what Canterbury was so successful with in the first half. They're playing it tight and then trying to get this ball out wide.
There's Toole, and Toole's lost the ball. Dunn comes up with it for Canterbury. He's tackled just inside North Sydney's territory. Toole was flattened by that tackle. He was very groggy early in the game, and it looks as if he's copped another very bad knock. Maybe we'll see that new rule invoked here that has been brought in this year about head injuries. We'll wait and see what happens, but he certainly copped a very bad bump there. Canterbury with the ball, 30 metres out. Alchin going down the centre of the North Sydney ruck.
Well, it's been an unfortunate baptism for this Toole. Only a young fellow, a strong fellow, and I'm sure he'll come back.
Langmack with the ball, down to the quarter line. Can't get that last pass away. Tackle number 5 against Canterbury. Now, what are they going to do here? It's going to be a kick from Farrar. It's a high centre kick, but it's gone way too long, I feel. Going back is McArthur, and he's taken the ball, and because of the momentum that he was going at, he was going across the dead ball line, but of course, he took the ball on the full in the in-goal area, which still means that the ball comes back to the quarter line. Now, Toole is being carried from the field.
Don McKinnon takes his place, but it's unfortunate for this youngster. He's a big strapping boy, but he did really catch a bad one in the first half, and the second one, I don't think he'll know much about it. He's shaking his head.
Looks as if he might have even got a bad knock on the nose as well there, but he did receive a very bad knock in the first half, and now he's got another bad knock. Probably wise to take him off. Donnie McKinnon, another former Kangaroo, is now on the field, and a mistake by North Seas Canterbury with another opportunity. And Andrew Farrar, who really has had a strong game in the centres, gets within about 32 metres. Bennett, away it goes to Dunn, and a penalty against North Sydney, all up inside the 5. And this should just about be a gift 2 points, right in front of the post, 24 metres out.
Well, a lot of frustration creeping into the North Sydney defence now. We saw that both Teasdell and the skipper, Mark Graham, well offside. They're trying to creep another extra 2 yards. And that's the game these days, David. They try to force the play down the middle, and you run the risk. And referee Roberts equal to the task. And this should be an easy 2 points.
So Andrew Farrar, a very strong boot. Did receive a knock early in the day when he sent Potter in for his try. Didn't take the next 2 kicks at goal.
Yes, he collided very heavy with the fullback Paul Conlon. Took him out of the game with at the same time as he was passing inside. And that's a shame about the forward Adrian Toole. He's a big strapping boy, and I'm sure that he'll bounce back, really bounce back into the game.
So here's Andrew Farrar now from right in front of the post. He hasn't been successful today, and they haven't been all that difficult either, the kicks of goal he's had. So right in front of the posts, 20 points to 4 in favour of Canterbury, and this is the chance for Canterbury just to regain their momentum. There it is, high in the air, and it's successful. 2 more points to Canterbury-Bankstown, and the Bulldogs stretch that lead again to 18 points. They lead by 22 points to 4.
Well, I think, David, you'll find that Canterbury will shut up shop here now. They'll play very simple football. They'll not try to do anything fancy. I'll be surprised if they do. The forwards have worked very hard, and it's very hot out there.
There's the restart from North Sydney. Getting underneath it is stand-in captain Steve Folks, and Folks will run it back towards the quarter line. And he gets back there too. Into dummy half is Potter. That's Bennett. Bennett, good run from Scott Bennett. He gained about 6 or 7 metres there in amongst the forwards. He's had a pretty good debut for Canterbury this afternoon. As Gillespie's busted them up towards the halfway line. Offloaded the pass. And Hagan, I think it is, who'll get up and play the ball just inside the territory of Canterbury. Alchin, away it goes towards Tunks. Tunks back on the inside, coming through quickly, then Potter. Potter offloads that pass. They're still going, Canterbury. Dunn down the centre. Lovely pass away to Jason Alchin. Alchin gets within about 25 metres of the line. This is good football from Canterbury. Bad defence admittedly from North, but they're keeping the ball alive. The little kick through from Langmack. Rebounds of a North player into the hands of Tunks. And is it no? The referee said there was no attempt to charge the kick down, so this is the last tackle against Canterbury. Now, it's going to be Farrar. Farrar's kick rebounds of a North Sydney player, and it's a race for the ball, which is won by Farrar. And again, the referee has said there was no attempt by the North Sydney player to charge the kick down, and so they come up with a handover.
Well, I can't understand why the crowd's booing. Referee Roberts is correct. You can't just kick the ball against the opposing defence and it go back to one. You've got to make an attempt to block it. And North certainly didn't on both occasions.
So that was good refereeing from Kevin Roberts, and North Sydney have the ball. 10 metres inside Canterbury's territory, and Donnie McKinnon's knocked it on. Well, that wouldn't be a happy start for the afternoon for the big fellow. One of the most popular players in rugby league, Don McKinnon.
Well, every picture tells a story, and I think his expression on his face there, David, said it all.
And how he'd love to be back in that North Sydney side to play that first game at North Sydney Oval because of the incredible involvement of the family over many years at North Sydney Oval. Jason Alchin, a little break from halfway inside North Sydney's territory. Taking it down the centre is Tunks, and Tunks gets within about 40 metres of the line. Bugden taking it up now is Dunn, and Dunn almost down to the quarter line. They're running at will at the moment, the Canterbury forwards. Bugden again a dummy half. This time it's going the blind side. Alchin's pass out wide is well picked up there by Hagan. Into dummy half as Langmack. Never stops talking, Paul Langmack, on a football field. Taking it up this time as Folkes, and Folkes has lost the ball, knocked it on. It's got to be a scrum. Well, there's Frank.
A worried man, I would imagine. 22 points to 4 down. He'll have a few problems. Not a man to show much emotion during the game. I think it changes a little bit after the game.
Of course, he's seen all the highs that rugby league have really got to offer. He's been on a kangaroo tour as a player, successful coach on a kangaroo tour, successful coach at premiership level. Now he'd really love to make a success over at North Sydney. Penalty goes to North Sydney against Paul Dunn. I dare say we'll see a few of those before the end of the day. A couple of these big forwards getting tired, and they're going to try and hold their opposition number down. And towards the end of the day, the opposition probably won't mind being held down either.
No, you can't blame them. And referee Roberts is saying, look, I'll give him 10 minutes in the sin bin if he does it again.
Well, it's twice that Paul's been penalised for it.
As you say, David, there'll be a few players out there in the next 10 minutes looking for the easy way out. I think you can safely say that it's going to take a miracle to get North Sydney to win. 22 points to 4.
And the penalties 5-all, so one can't say that the referee has favoured either side this afternoon in any way. North Sydney have the ball inside.
You're not suggesting that they do at any time in rugby league, are you?
No, but I mean, often you hear the squeals for coaches losing being the fact that they've been caned in the penalties. But 5 apiece, no one can squeal.
If coaches can afford the $1,000 fine, good luck to them.
Penalty again against Canterbury. Exactly the same.
And as you said, David, I think we see that Bella went through, and there's a lot of these players in Canterbury, they're very, very clever at this, coming in 3rd and 4th tackle. Bugden, especially clever at it.
He had to get on a step ladder to reach him that time as McKinnon takes it ahead for North Sydney. Good run from the prop forward. He's taken about 17 metres out. Into dummy half again as Wright as this goes away to Bella. Bella down the centre. He's tackled 12 metres away from Canterbury's line. And again it's Rex Wright at dummy half. Open side. It's Friend, throws the dummy, goes on his own. The little fella's almost all the way. The pass over the top. It's picked up by Clark and he'll score. Good try from Geoff Clark, but put it down to the little man, Clayton Friend. He's been very much involved in both the North Sydney tries, and Clark scores his first-grade try.
And good play by North Sydney, even though they've still in with a chance here. You'll see Clayton Friend. Now watch Canterbury do what Norths have been doing all day. They waited for him and laid off him. And good play by the Kiwi. A long ball out wide. You can see the congestion there. Bad play by O'Brien. He won't like this at all. Now watch the Kiwi halfback. Watch him move across. He throws a dummy to Graham. He does the step. Canterbury look off. Now look where O'Brien is. There he is. Oh boy. Oh, he says, I know what I should have been. And a good try to the centre.
And won't he be happy with that, because this is his first grade game and he's managed to score his first try in Sydney Rugby League with that. So certainly whatever nerves he might have had at the beginning of the day would certainly be long gone, and how he'd like to be able to pilot the ball over the post to score his, or to kick his first goal in first grade football to boot.
Well, that certainly would have lifted his confidence.
I'll tell you what, it'll lift North's confidence a lot if he kicks this over, because there's still a good 20 minutes left in the game and another converted try, and there'll only be 4 points or 6 points in it. So there's not going to be much in this match if North can hit back immediately. In comes Clark, a very important kick at goal, and it's going to be waved away. So 22 points to 8 to score, 14 points in it. And that penalty goal kicked by Andrew Farrar just a few moments ago, just providing Canterbury with that buffer, because an immediate try here from North Sydney still wouldn't get them within striking distance.
And it was interesting to note, David, that Warren Ryan sent out his runner straight away. There's no doubt what the message would have been. Come on, you fellas, stop resting on your laurels. North Sydney are back in this game. Let's roll the sleeves up, get back into it.
There's the kick off, and it rebounds off the legs of a North Sydney player, and I think Canterbury might have come up with the ball. They have. Well, that's what happens when you don't face the ball.
Yes, it was bad play by Wright then. He turned his back against the ball. All right, it was kicked heavily in front of him. And Biscuits, well, he's certainly cranky there.
You don't blame him either.
No.
Turned his back to the ball, and they just kicked it straight into his legs and regained possession, and Canterbury are now in an attacking position down on the North Sydney quarter line. Kelly gathers the ball under his arm. He's lost possession. He's been picked up though by Canterbury, and Alchin going all the way. He's held up though only 10 metres out. Canterbury's chance to score a try. So it goes from Langmack to Hagan. Hagan back in amongst the forwards. Taken a bit high initially by McKinnon, but he did manage to finish up round his legs. They're only 11 metres out, the Bulldogs. Langmack switches play back to Tunks. Tunks tries the grubber kick. Bennett flying through, but the ball beats them all across the dead ball line. And play will restart with the little tap kick from the centre of the quarter line.
That really was a good switch of play by Canterbury. Now the ball was put in there, and it was a beautiful kick here by Tunks. Now this is his second of the game, and Bennett, well, he could see the first try for Canterbury. He had a bit of an indifferent season with Eastern Suburbs. 16 games he played and did not score a try. Unusual for a wingman, but he went very close there.
Now Teasdell, he's got to get penalised for that. Now, I can tell you something now. If you're back in Steve-O's homeland of Pommyland, that would have been allowed. I mean, really,
what?
They're allowed to play the ball anyway over there. Anything that resembles something close to the play the ball, they allow. But here in Australia, the law is applied to the letter. And look at that.
I resemble that remark.
Yes, I know you do, but I'll tell you what, those referees over there, they let them get away with blue murder. You see that? How could you play the ball like that?
You're trying to say that the Australian referees are a lot better than the Pommy ones?
Well, there's no comparison. On comes Kelly, straight down the centre, and Kelly's going to be held up about 18 metres out. Let's not start on the French, for heaven's sake. Replacement coming to the sideline for North Sydney. I notice, I think it's Peter Martin who might be coming on for North, but Canterbury with a chance going the blind side out there. It finishes up with O'Brien, and O'Brien's held up only 10 metres out from North's line. Bugden in a dummy half. Alchin gets it away. That's Folkes, and Folkes is held up only 10 metres out. Fourth tackle.
Now
Two more tackles left.
What's the ball come out wide here, David?
Langmack, beautiful dummy, on it goes to Folkes, onto Hagan, and Hagan will score.
Oh boy, that's beautiful football. Top quality stuff. It may look simple, but that was a magnificent ball onto Tunks. It was a set move. Beautiful football this. Oh, they want to savour this rugby league. Watch how Langmack holds it up. Run by the prop, and in he goes. Hagan in for the try. Oh, beautiful football. I'll watch this all day. Langmack, superb, superb. And the man in support. Forwards love to do that. I know Langmack's playing 5'8" today, David. but that really was great football.
So Michael Hagan in for his second try of the afternoon and his second try of the season. And Paul Langmack will, in all likelihood, stay at 5'8", the way things are going, while ever Terry Lamb has this hamstring problem. Teasdale off, and coming on is Martin. I'm certain Peter Martin is the replacement coming on for North Sydney. And Andrew Farrar with the chance to add the extras. Well, this could well finish up being a massacre now. 26 points to 8. That would have taken all the wind out of North's sails, and there's the kick from Farrar. 2 more points. 28 points to 8 is the score.
Got 15 minutes left, David, and I can assure you that, well, Canterbury, they'll be looking at the situation and looking at the training run from here on in now. They'll start doing their moves.
So the cheer squad very happy, and why shouldn't they be? 20 points the margin, and Canterbury now will just about run at will, and that ball picked up now by Bennett. Wouldn't be much incentive left out there amongst the North Sydney ranks, and it will certainly they'll certainly be feeling the heat a lot more than the Canterbury fellows at this stage.
Well, they'll be disappointed, David, but I'm sure it'll be running through their minds that they've got to look forward to a first-grade position. And there's not many out there that can hold it that say that they're going to be secure for selection next week.
So Gillespie plays it, now taking the ball up on the short side there as a replacement on for Canterbury-Bankstown, and running the ball out wide. O'Brien, he's out of one, he's out of two, he's still going O'Brien. Good strong run from the winger, and he's down towards the halfway line. Replacement on for Canterbury is James Donnelly, as that kick went over the top, and a little bit of a struggle by Lennon to take it, but he finally did, down on his own quarter line, evades the tackle of Hagan.
Well, this is what made O'Brien a big chance for the Kangaroo Tour, and quite honestly, I thought he deserved to go. Look at the strength of this man. A couple of years ago, he was quite slim, but he's so strong now, handing off all the way. And Conlon for his pass.
So North Sydney with the ball, just inside their own territory, and they'll get up and play it there to Cannon, and it comes away now out towards Bella. Bella up over the halfway line. He's met by solid defence there. Folks really did stop him in his tracks. He's tackled just inside the territory of Canterbury as they run it across the back line again. Now it's on to Graham. The run round back with Cannon. Cannon can't get his pass away, and in fact he's lost the ball, and Canterbury will come up with it just inside their own half. And a knock on, and a scrum will go down.
Well, a bit of scrappy play there as we see another replacement. Canterbury-Bankstown looks like Michael Reid, the hooker, coming onto the paddock.
So coming on Michael Reid, and also on there is James Donnelly already. So Bugden no doubt getting an early shower.
Well, it's good tactics by their coach Warren Ryan. And he's just informing Bugden, take an early shower, my friend. I'm sure Bugden won't mind. It's been pretty hard out there for the hooker. They don't come any tougher than this guy.
So North Sydney now throwing the ball out wide, and they've got a chance. They're down on the Canterbury quarter line, running the ball out through their backs. Now it's out with Clark. Coming onto the ball is Florimo, and he's managed to almost slip out of the tackle of Farrar. Tackle about 30 metres out. Line side, taking the ball up as McKinnon. McKinnon gets out of one. 18 metres away from the Canterbury line, right in a dummy half. That's Friend back to Cannon on to Bella, and Bella with the ball is tackled by Reid and also Dunn, only about 19 metres away. Now that little flick pass from Wright wasn't really designed to go to anyone, but McKinnon did well to pick it up, and picking up the dregs is Graham. On it goes to Friend, and Friend can't handle the pass, and diving on it is Potter for Canterbury.
Well, it was odds on. They had 3 attempts there, and they juggled the ball. It was odds on they were going to knock it on.
And look at this run from Scott Bennett. Bennett, he's almost gapped them. He's down towards the halfway line. He's still going, Scott Bennett. And the only man he had in support was Potter, and he just couldn't turn around to get balance to pass the ball on a penalty against Lennon for not allowing to play the ball anyway.
Well, you couldn't blame Lennon really there. This was a great run by Bennett. He's had a pretty good debut in the first grade for Canterbury. Plenty of speed. He evades them all, but it was poor tackling. I hate to keep repeating myself, but they are just cut to ribbons, David, this North Sydney defence.
So now the kick has been taken and Canterbury with the ball 10 metres inside North territory as Gillespie takes it ahead. And he's tackled about 35 metres out and Kelly comes charging onto the ball. Like a wounded rhinoceros that time. Almost down to the quarter line. Reid, away it goes. Alchin can't handle it, knocks it on. Scrum will go down just outside the North Sydney quarter line. Well, we really have seen some great Canterbury football this afternoon. 28 points to 8 they lead, about 9 minutes left in the match. But some of the Champagne Rugby League that we've seen from Canterbury this afternoon, I'm certain will be repeated tomorrow afternoon at this very ground when St George take on Manly Warringah, two sides that have very good back lines. Should be a great game. As Friend runs it away from the base of the scrum.
Well, he's tried his best for North Sydney as Clayton Friend. The Kiwi is really giving everything he's got. Due to his efforts at North Sydney, posted both their tries. But other than that, there's been very, very few stars on the Bears side.
And Wright runs it back to the halfway for the Bears. And now North Sydney are running the ball and Bella standing out amongst the backs has to turn the ball back on the inside because the outside backs had already overrun him. Sargent, I think, warming up on the sideline.
Well, it has to be expected, David. It's very warm out there, and why not give the guys a bit of a rest? Kelly points to himself. Is that me? You beauty. And look at the guy run. Ooh, I won that shower, he said.
Well, he's had a great game today. And the crowd love the big fellow here at Belmore, and he's able to go in. But as I said earlier, I don't think he'll even mind having a cold shower today. Canterbury with the ball just inside North's territory. Into dummy half, Reid. Blindside taking it up now as the man who's just come onto the field, Sargent, on a good strong run. Almost down to the quarter line. They go the short side through Dunn, and Dunn's pass out wide isn't a good one. It's been loose. It's been picked up in the end by North Sydney. Coming up with the ball is Steve Keir, who came on at half-time as the replacement. And North Sydney have the ball just out from their own quarter line. So North Sydney run it away again up towards the halfway. Clark, he managed to get through Dunn's tackle. He's starting to feel this heat now, Paul Dunn. And across the line, it comes to Graham. Now it's with Friend. The ball goes away out towards Cannon. Good little step, managed to get a pass away out to Martin. And Martin's well and truly wrapped up. Good ball and all tackling from Scott Bennett. Now going from dummy half as Cannon. He tries the little chip and chase. It goes straight into the hands there of Donnelly. And it's going to be a penalty. And it's against the replacement, Sargent, who's just come onto the field for knocking Conlon out of the road. I should say knocking Cannon out of the road after he put that kick through.
Well, there's never any doubt here. You can see that Sargent used his shoulder to obstruct Cannon after he kicked the ball through. See, some forwards do have brains.
So now we're going to see North Sydney get the ball down on the quarter line. Canterbury's end of the field. Only about 5 minutes left in the match as Martin Bella charges onto the ball, but he hasn't done too many charges today. That's been one of the problems with North Sydney, even when they've had the ball. McKinnon's tackled. Good tackle from Sargent.
Surely North will put on a move here, David. I know that the game's gone. At least they can try their moves.
And now taking the ball out wide, it's Friend who reverses the play back to Graham, and Graham was standing still and he's lost the ball. It's loose on the ground. It's been dived on by Canterbury, and they're going to play the ball almost on their own quarter line.
Well, it's a game I'm sure the North Sydney skipper will want to forget, along with all his players.
Well, now they've lost the ball, Canterbury. It's been raked free by Wright, and he's come up with it for North Sydney. Friend offloads it out to Martin. Martin thought about throwing the pass. It wasn't on. Just outside the quarter line. Bella. Pass away to Friend. That looked pretty close to being forward, but Martin has the ball now. They're only about 20 metres out now from the Canterbury line, the North Sydney Bears, as they swing at the open side. Here comes Graham down the centre of the ruck, charging onto the ball again then. There's another one of the North Sydney players. It's Steve Keir, the replacement winger, as he plays the ball to Cannon. Open side it comes to Friend. Friend puts the little kick through. Coming through quickly is a few North Sydney players, but going higher than everyone is Andrew Farrar. And he's come up with the ball a few metres out now from the Canterbury line as Bennett goes for another one of these runs. And he's almost taken it back to the quarter line.
Well, this was good play by Andrew Farrar. He's had a great game. see how cool and calm.
Canterbury with the ball, just out from their own quarter line. Taking it up is Folkes. Folkes has tackled, 30 metres out from Canterbury's line. Now it's with Langmack. Almost lost the ball. In fact, he has lost the ball, and Graham has it. The pass goes away to McKinnon. He's lost the ball. It's like watching a game of tiddlywinks or volleyball or something at the moment, isn't it? But these big forwards, Mike, you can't really blame them. Playing in this heat.
Certainly is, David, and I'm sure that both sides will be glad when this game's over, especially North Sydney. There's been a very convincing win by the Bulldogs. They can feel very pleased with themselves. A lot of people suspected that they wouldn't be up to fitness for this game. Well, they certainly squashed that.
So here's Potter. Potter's tackle. 10 metres short of the halfway line, players now, as it goes to Langmack. Langmack down to the halfway. Beautiful ball away, across through Donnelly. His pass has gone loose, and North Sydney have come up with it.
Well, he served some beautiful balls up to his other players as Langmack. He certainly has been the link man and has done a very good job.
Oh, and now we've seen a high tackle affected against Cannon. Gillespie coming in there.
Yes, I think he caught his shoulders. I don't think he got to the head, but certainly too high. Yes, you can see he grabs over the top of the shoulder and follows through. And at this stage of the game, referee Roberts says, I'm having none of that.
So North Sydney going to kick for touch. They've been fairly happy to get to double figures at this stage. Not very long left in the match as North Sydney have the ball 10 metres inside Canterbury's territory, and taking it up as McKinnon, and that must have been pretty close to a forward pass even there.
Well, I'm surprised that North don't, even now they've got this penalty. They look as though they're tired, they don't know what to do. It's taking them a long time to get themselves organised to even set one mover.
Just a bad tackle of Dunn on Bella just then, as Martin's gone straight through. He's down over the quarter line. He's got within about 16 metres of the Canterbury line. And North Sydney able to post another try in the dying moments of the match. It's Friend to Cannon. Away it goes to Graham, looking for a runner. It went back to Cannon. Out wide now it goes to Lennon. Lennon comes back on the inside. They're not making much forward ground at the moment. He's run straight across field, Lennon. He's gone forward 2 metres and run 50. Into dummy half this time, McArthur. Now it's with Friend, and back it goes to Bella. Bella goes down the centre. He's managed to get his pass away to French, and French is out of one. He's still going French, and French has got within 9 metres of the Canterbury line. Tackle number 5 against the Bears as it goes to McArthur. He tries the little grubber kick through. It's gone loose, and in the end, the Canterbury have come up with it. And Jason Alchin's going to play it a couple of metres out from his own line.
Well, once again, we saw an individual run there by McArthur. It's taken them a long time to sort things out. And I'm sure that their coach, Frank Stanton, will have a lot to say next week. They've got to have an organiser out there, and I've been very disappointed with their skipper, Mark Graham.
Well, really, they haven't looked organised from the word go today, have they? Look at this, 59 errors, I think it is, registered against them now. 46 missed tackles.
That's incredible, isn't it?
That's, well, that's the story of the match. There's the kick. Canterbury saying, let's play it down North Sydney's end of the field. And that's Steve Keir, and he's beautifully wrapped up right round the legs by Paul Langmack. I suppose if you had to give someone a Man of the Match award for doing something out of the ordinary, Langmack must just about receive that today. And here comes the speeds to Lennon. Lennon's pass on the inside has again gone loose, so North Sydney continue to make errors, and that was a chance to post another try. And alas, for young Clark, the pass wasn't a good one, but if he'd been able to slow down just a fraction, he may well have been able to take that and score the try. But
well, this was a good run. Very good run by Lennon, and he passes the ball inside. Now he does the right thing, and there you see the centre, Geoff Clark, and well, it's been the story of the day, hasn't it, David? They haven't had a great deal of luck, but they haven't tried hard to make sure that Lady Luck shone on them.
Canterbury leading by 28 points to 8. They have the ball down on their own quarter line. Potter runs it away from dummy half. Canterbury get it out now towards Bennett. And these two wingers on this side of the field, Lennon and Bennett, have had 2 very good games, and there it is. The match is all over here at the Belmore Sports.
Legion of Friends for his retirement. The club came up with a very nice gesture, and Robbo was saluted by the crowd, driven around, played over 200 games, started playing with the club 11 years ago, and a good salute to a former very, very popular player here with the Canterbury-Bankstown